here. How about that Mando episode, huh?
That one was pretty good, I think.
I mean, really, like, we could just stay up late tonight and at midnight it goes live.
No, we can't. The
You don't think
mic's
so?
gotta. The mic's gotta. The mic's.
Yeah, you do have to go to sleep. Like, I can operate on little sleep. I don't know. I
think you think you can.
was going to say.
But I don't think you can.
Yeah, operating and being functional, those might not be the same things, right?
Yeah.
Just because we say you can function doesn't mean you can function.
Well, and it's nice that you don't have to be around too many people.
Or any people, for that matter.
Or any people, yeah. So
I just do what I do. But you have to be around people. So you kind of actually have to be on, at least for a little bit, right?
I do have to be on.
Which is frustrating for you, because
it's tough to be on all the time.
Do you think you're on all the time? Or there are some times where you're just like...
Maybe not all the time, but a majority of all of my workday I am.
You don't have... Do you have like a coworker to where you don't have to be on too? You can just be like, yo, this sucks. And you're both like, word.
Yeah, I mean, you get that way with your team. With the team that you're on, you can kind of be yourself. One in particular, especially that you don't have to kind of be around anymore. Like, what am I trying to say?
I don't know.
You don't have to be on with that person, so that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. It makes it nice.
You at least have someone. Like, I'm usually alone, so I'm like, that's why I just talk to myself or call people while they're at work and be like, I need to talk to you for a second.
and most of the time that works out if I don't have a class, but
yeah. But then again, it's like no one goes to class anymore. There's no more class for the rest of... So what do you guys do? Are you just going to like pass every kid that comes like, yeah, you passed. Like,
nope.
How do you...
Nope. My kiddos still have assignments and things that they need to do, that they need to show evidence of being able to do a few key activities that we've chosen. And so I have a lot that aren't doing it.
Which is weird. Like, your class would be the easiest class to get done, right? Just like show evidence of doing a push-up.
Even more simple than that. Like, for our littles, they have to walk, run, skip, hop, gallop, side slide, right? Because we're establishing some locomotor patterns, and they just have to show me. They have to show evidence of them being able to do that for at least 20 feet in a straight line with control, balance, all that kind of stuff that we look for.
Yeah.
The bigger kiddos have to dribble a basketball, right hand, left hand, crossover.
I can't even do that.
Baseball with all the proper form. So,
speaking of people,
I know a lot of people who can't throw a ball with proper form. I know a lot of adults who can't throw a baseball with proper form.
You know, I was actually talking with a bunch of other people on a separate Discord about that. People were like, "Yeah, we can't. Like, I've never learned how to throw a ball," and it kind of like hurt my soul a little bit. Because I remember a guy that I knew when I was in Argentina, and he could not throw a ball. And this was like a 20-year-old dude that's like been to school, sports, and I'm like, how do you not know how to throw a ball? And I don't want to like ball shame anyone. You got to be careful about shaming anyone. But he didn't know how to throw a ball, and I was like, how did you survive like not being able to throw a baseball, like throwing? And I guess I assumed that it was just like one of those things, like dogs know how to swim, like from birth. Which I guess apparently mine didn't, because he almost drowned the first time I threw him in the water. That was bad. He's alive. He's still here with me. But he didn't know how to throw a ball.
There's a lot of people who don't know how to throw a ball. There's a lot of people who think they know how to throw a ball, who don't know how to throw a ball, and it's one of the things I cringe out about pretty frequently when I used to see people at the park. And, playing with a football or even playing with a baseball, play with their kids. I saw a baseball coach who did not throw the ball properly.
How do they become a baseball coach? I don't understand. That seems like a fundamental aspect of the sport.
Well, we've been in it long enough to know that it doesn't take much to become a baseball coach.
Well, that's true. You just have to
in our town.
Which
right?
Is kind of sad.
And you know what? Good for him for volunteering. I didn't, right? It's one of those things where, like, I do this all day. I don't want to come home and do this. So that was kind of my deal there. But you get to that midpoint in the season where you go, you know what? I get that you guys aren't going to win any games, but let's at least line up in the right spots, right? Let's at least look like we know what we're doing. Stop spinning around in circles. Stand here. No, the glove doesn't go on top of your head. Please put it on your hand, right? No, we don't need all the accessories because that's what your baseball heroes wear. Let's just work on swinging the bat and holding it properly before we put on all the guards and the things. And so it's challenging, right? Like fielding a ground ball is challenging.
That'll
a lot
always
of
be
times
hard.
I mean, the funniest thing to do is watch sports bloopers because they're just funny, because you get to see these elite athletes just mess up at things that you think are simple until you get behind even just a lightly hit ground ball coming to you. Like, you have a little bit of anxiety when that ball is coming to you. You know and so I get it, but
No, I
you're a
mean,
coach.
yeah,
You're
but
there for a reason. Coach the boys up. Don't just yell at them, because we've seen that too. Seen coaches who just throw their hands up in the air. Why didn't you catch that ball?
no, I
Hey,
mean,
coach, did you work on it during practice?
yeah, I mean,
No.
like
Well,
the last game we were at, when a coach, throws his hat down on the ground because an 8-year-old kid misses a fly ball, you know, um,
yeah.
so Gonzalo Godoy, as an Argentinian, I can attest, we didn't learn to throw balls.
Well, yeah, they can kick anything with every single part of their foot. So I guess the parallel to that would be an Argentinian who doesn't know how to kick a ball properly, right? So
That's
America
true.
is to throwing a baseball as Argentina is to kicking a soccer ball. So just imagine that. Imagine seeing an adult male, an adult not be able to kick a ball, and it's just ugh, ah,
Yeah,
and
Gonzalo.
and then they hurt themselves in the process.
Yeah, that's true. Gonzalo, what part of Argentina are you in? Um, yeah, it's got to be tough. Oh, and I guess condolences to the whole country of Argentina for the passing of Diego Maradona.
Yeah,
So that was
yeah.
despite what everyone says like about him. I
I don't
mean,
know, man. I kind of feel like the hand of God was present in his life. Whatever,
are you still
whatever,
upset about the hand of God? Are you still upset about that?
whatever.
All right, Gonzalo's in Buenos Aires. I was in Buenos Aires twice. I flew in and flew out of Buenos Aires. That was a good place. Buenos Aires is huge. Like I have seen big cities from the sky, but I have not seen anything like on the level of Buenos Aires. When we flew in at night, and there was just like lights for forever. It was like a sea of lights when we flew into Buenos Aires. So, all right,
That
Mike.
is what happens when you fly places. You see them.
No, I've like been to big cities, right? But this was like the expansiveness of Buenos Aires was astounding to me. All right, shut up. All right, should we start the show? Should we do a thing where we talk about video games, or we can talk about whatever
Uh,
we want, really? Like,
I thought we did start already.
I thought we were going faster. All right, I'm gonna play a couple things and then we'll jump to it. Give me 1 second to do this. Click. I'm gonna do this. And
This tribunal has convened in accordance with Signarin military law to assist the ongoing inquest into the unknown whereabouts of Commander Dalen Sturgis.
You are listening to the Freelancer Codex, a podcast brought to you by the Shut Up and Respawn Network.
welcome, freelancers, to episode 150 of the Freelancer Codex podcast. This is the longest running podcast that used to be an Anthem podcast, but now it's carried on by two of the hosts because we like talking about video games and stuff, and we've been doing it for a really long time and figured there isn't any point in stopping now because I don't want people to say that we're quitters. So we're just going to keep doing this. We're going to keep talking about what we want, things that are going on in the video game space, things that we are doing in our lives, in the lives of our kids, because there's a lot of stuff to cover in the video game space, man, and like to try and keep up with it all, it's been like really daunting to me this week. All right, so real quick, it is again episode 150. Today is the 3rd of December. That means Halo Infinite is probably about 230 days away. God of War Ragnarok is probably 241 days away. These are all estimates. 2021 is only 29 days away, which is really exciting for people that want to see 2020 behind them, like I think most of us do. Final Fantasy 16 is probably going to be like 31 days away. Cyberpunk is only 7 days away. At this time next week, the world will be playing Cyberpunk. They'll be
Maybe.
What game are they going to be playing, Mike?
I don't know if it's going to be Cyberpunk, but who knows? It could get
Are you anticipating a delay now, like from 7 days, like it's going to get delayed?
It's 2020. I would not say it is out of the realms of possibility.
I am not going to deny that. That is very possible that Cyberpunk somehow gets delayed. But anyway, I think we'll all be playing Cyberpunk. All right. Outriders is 61 days away, and it seems like more and more games have announced that they are moving their release date from this month into next year to make way for Cyberpunk. And we'll talk about that a little bit later.
I don't know if it's to make way for Cyberpunk. I think everything is just getting delayed.
Postponed.
Can't do it. But
I think there are multiple reasons that it's happening. Cyberpunk is one of them. Moving things until they are ready is another one. I think it's just one of those things that like, hey, this is a good excuse to be able to move something. We want to get out of the way of Cyberpunk, so let's do that. So,
hey, I'll be right back.
I will talk about all the things that I'm doing. All right, so everyone, thanks for hanging out with us in chat. People that are listening to on your podcaster of choice, we really appreciate it. We want to thank our patrons that have been supporting the show for a really long time. And anyone that wants to join our patrons, they can do that at patreon.com/Freelancer Codex. We would like to thank Julius, Nathan B, Michael R, Trent B, Man in Steel, Scout69, Dragonheart76, Jeffrey H, The Gameplay Experience, RZ, and Phaedron. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. It helps keep the lights on over here at the Freelancer Codex. And yeah, we couldn't do it without you. So again, if you want to join all those fantastic people that do that, you can do it at patreon.com/Freelancer Codex. I also like to shout out to our Discord community. Something happened on the Discord that kind of like bummed me out a little bit. So we've had a Discord for a really long time. I am a part of a lot of Discords, and Discords are interesting. I'm part of a lot of really big Discords. I'm part of like slower moving Discords. I really like our Discord community. It is not a Discord community where you feel like you have to be in there every day or you miss out on things. It is very casual. It seems like a very tight-knit community that, you know, when things happen, people post and they talk about the games that they're playing. Someone came in off of the Godfall content that I was doing and was like in there for Godfall. And unfortunately, Godfall was not something that I was enjoying as much as I really wanted to. So I stopped making content on it. And this person was still into it. They're commenting in the Godfall channel, and they're, you know, based on, you know, a lot of things that we had said before, like in our community, like, hey, you know, this game doesn't look like it looks like there's some things going on in the background that we don't know. Our community was pretty wary of it going in, you know, and with good reason. Like pre-ordering a game for $60, $70 is a tough sell, especially at the end of the year with all these games coming out. So our community was kind of not hot on it. So there weren't a lot of people that have dived in and were playing. And this person was like, hey, you know, no one's talking about Godfall in here. This Discord's dead. I'm out of here. See you later. And it kind of bugged me for a couple days that they were like, this Discord's dead. I'm like, I don't think our Discord's dead. I think our Discord is just different from like these massive, like 1,000 people Discords where you get in and, you know, it's tough to have those. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying other than I really enjoy our Discord community and the conversations that happen there. And I'm glad that there's not like a ton of pressure to be this like giant, massive thing where people are chatting all the time. And if you don't have like a looking for group or game going, then the Discord is dead. I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
I think that what you say is what I say. No, it's tough, right? Like, I think one of the things that I've learned over the course of 2020 is how quickly things change and how we move into one thing to another. And what am I trying to say? Video games aren't any different than that, right? There are video games that are hot, there are video games that are not, video games that come back after being cold for a while, video games that are just kind of that lukewarm that everybody stays with. And so I guess if that's all you do, if you just really want specific content and no one's talking about the content in this specific place, then yeah, maybe it's dead here. Whatever. It's unfair to say that the entire Discord is dead. I mean, I doubt that's what they were saying. Maybe they were. I don't know. It's just tough, and everybody gets their own and has their own kind of niche, and so more power to you. Go for it. Find those people that you can play with, and if it's not here, I mean, there's no reason to hate on things, right? There's no reason to leave a thing because the hosts talk about a topic that you're not up on or whatever. I mean, what it says more about you than it does the host, I guess. I don't know. So
I think
I'm
there's
alright.
I think there's something very specific you're talking about that maybe we won't get into. Anyway, I want to say I appreciate our Discord community and for everything that they do, and we will put a
I am
link.
in there so much. Love seeing you guys in there.
I know you are, man. Like
Yeah.
I think someone left you a message about sending you something in there that you might want to check that out.
I answered back actually.
Oh.
So there.
All right.
So there.
Cool. So you know what we should do? We should talk about the things that we've been doing. I've actually been doing quite a few things that I wanted to chat about. Mike, is there anything this week that you've been playing that you want to report on? I know you've been diving into Destiny. So is there anything there you want to hit us up on?
So with the addition to the Xbox Series S that my house received in the last couple weeks, I've only been through 2 HDMI cords. There was a little accident, but it's fixed now.
Good.
I'll send pictures. And so it's kind of fun because I've been able to play with my oldest, who is starting to get into things, building characters, and so it's kind of been fun to let him be a fire team lead and kind of take us on his own journey and his kind of quest and just kind of help him out and stuff. And then the teaching that goes in, you don't stop right now to look at the item that you just got. We gotta wait till we kill all these ads. Let's find the next mission. We don't just go to free play just to free play. Like, there has to be a reason. So it's been kind of fun to do that. I've kind of gotten to the point now where I don't really know where to go. Like, the current mission icon, I don't think is lit up, but who knows? So I'm at a little bit of kind of a lull. And so just exploring kind of the new activities that I hadn't done. Since I've started playing again, there are at least 2 new tiered activities that kind of build on, we talk about kind of like the tougher and tougher encounters kind of thing, and you build as you are able to stay in the Well of Souls and in the just forgot the name of it just now, the Altar of
Egos, Altar of
Tears,
Eris.
Sorrows, or something like that. It's on the moon and it's Eris, so it has to be dark and depressing. So
Yeah.
It's probably the Altar of Sorrow or whatever. But they're fun encounters. They're something to do, gives you rewards, kind of like the so the last one I did was probably the the Archon Forge. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah.
Forge runs.
Totally.
This is pretty much the same thing. You have to have a token. You pay to get in. You have 3 different tokens to go, low, medium, and high. And you get gear out of it, so which is good. Gear is always fun, and you play and you shoot. And I mean, it's Destiny. Destiny's Destiny. So
Are you
and then
are you having fun playing Destiny?
Since we have moved to at-home learning in our school district, and I now get to be at home more, when I have all the kids on, there's a point in the day where every kiddo, there's 4 of them, every kiddo is on for about 45 minutes to an hour, kind of overlapping depending on. So I have a block of time where I'm the only one not in like a scheduled Zoom meeting. And so yeah, I kind of go, okay, I guess I'll turn Destiny on and I'll play some Destiny until something happens. So I did that all this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But then today I said I kind of need to not do this because I think I'm kind of falling into a trap
Yeah.
of doing this all the time. So I did a super deep clean of the bathroom,
Ah, very
and
nice.
it's amazing. It looks like a brand new bathroom. Not that it was like filthy gross, and I don't want to paint that picture that it
It
was
was
like a
like a
filthy
raid
gross
of the
bathroom.
dark below.
Yeah, so it wasn't, but when things are clean and shiny, you're like, oh man, this is clean and shiny. So I did that, and then went back to Destiny. Of course, it was kind of fun because you got your oldest, and I had my oldest. We put them in a fire team, and they got to play together, and it's kind of fun, kind of cringy listening to them talk about what they're going through.
I was surprised at how good they did at the PvP match that they were in,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they won a whole match of elimination, and I was very surprised at the amount of kills that they were getting, and I'm like, hey, maybe Logan, you should come play for me. You should come play on my team.
That's funny.
But
And
Mike,
it's funny that yours is like very much into the PvP stuff.
yeah,
Cause I haven't shown mine how to do that at all. Right? And it's like, no, just do the story missions. Here, here's a couple bounties, do these, do this kind of stuff where it's mostly PvE. So it's kind of funny how they gravitate towards that. Because I don't know if you haven't pushed yours to PvP. You're just like,
no,
all right, here's the game.
yeah, and
Go for it.
he's just kind of found that on his own, and he enjoys that. I think because he gets gear quicker because the matches are shorter, so that's why
Oh, yeah.
he does it. But you did not answer my question. Are you having fun playing Destiny?
So after I played Destiny for today, I went out and jumped on the trampoline with the kiddos, and it was kind of fun. And yeah, I mean, I keep going back to it, so I must be having fun. I must be getting that dopamine release, but
Or is
there's I get to like a point, Steve, where I'm like, I'm just playing because there's nothing else to do.
right?
Right? There's like not even just no other games to play, because there are tons of other games to play that I could totally play. But it's just like that's just where there's nothing to do around the house. All the kids are engaged in school. I cleaned the bathroom. I get to tackle the garage tomorrow. The dishes are done. So I'm just like, all right, I guess this is what I do now.
Is it just familiar? Is that why you go back to it?
I think that's what it is. I think it's a no brain activity, right? Because it doesn't take very much brain power to look down a reticle and find a bad guy and shoot him, right?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't take a whole lot of activity. And I think I'm to the point where I can say that I've got quite a few hours in Destiny. So I'm not a beginner. I'm pretty advanced when it comes to it. Like I kind of got it going, so I can just kind of sit there, turn on cruise control, and just play until I get yelled at for being on computer games during the day because the kids can't be. And so there's that, and there's that whole merry-go-round, right? So it's kind of like, what can I sneak in this brief interval where my whole family is on Zoom calls, and I get to hide behind the Christmas tree because our Christmas tree actually kind of blocks
It makes
my
a barrier.
workstation. Yeah, it does. It blocks it off from the rest of the house where everybody can see. And so, I mean, yeah, I'm having fun. It's not terrible. It's kind of neat getting the new gear and stuff, and kind of learning what I missed while I was gone.
I think
But not terrible. I enjoy it. It's not bad. It's fun playing on the Series S. It seems like it's going faster. Like I can't tell. No,
Yeah.
that's not true. I can't tell between the Series S and then the Xbox One S.
I want you to put a quote on the back of the Destiny 2 box. Destiny 2, it's not terrible. Mike Lamson, Freelancer Codex.
It's not, and it's not terrible. Like nobody can Destiny like Destiny can Destiny, right?
Agreed.
mean,
That's like the Destiny of all Destinies, and people should stop trying to out Destiny because we see what happens when people.
Because you're not gonna do it.
Right.
Unfortunately, you're not gonna be able to do it. Like you can try, and it's like Halo. You can't out Halo. You can't out Destiny. Like I don't know why. I do know why games try to be games that are out that are popular. It's because they need that cash grab, right? That's what it is. That's why we had so many battle royales in a 3-month period. That's why we have there tries to be so many Destiny clones, right? Like no, I mean they figured it out. They hit those winning numbers, right? And you guys are just gonna have to come up with something else. They can maybe borrow some of the systems, but it needs to be something different because if you're gonna frame it just like Destiny and make it just like Destiny, I'm gonna go play Destiny. So
I agree with you. Well said.
yeah,
Well said.
yeah, I like
Cheerio.
it. So what have you been up to, Steve?
I've been
Have you been doing lots of things?
I have been doing too many things. I don't know if you know this about Michael, but I'll let everyone in on the secret. I have an obsessive personality, right? To where when I see something, it's an attack dog that goes in and focuses, and now this is the thing that I'm going to focus on. For a while, that was my Godfall channel. After Godfall wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, I know there's a lot of people that still enjoy it, and that's fine. I am not going to say that those people should not enjoy any game that they're playing. It just wasn't something that I was like, okay, I'm going to move on. And the month of November is the National Novel Writers Month or whatever. So I was like, hey, there's something I'm not very good at, writing, and there's something I've never done before is writing, so I better take this opportunity and try to write a novel. So I have actually been doing that. Just recently I hit about 41,000 words. I had a goal of 50,000 words in November, which meant if I were to write if I were to write 6 days a week, because I gave myself Saturday off, I should write 2,000 words every day, and by the time November was over, I would have 50,000 words. I didn't quite hit that goal. I hit around 38,000. And I actually wrote. I mean, I wrote a lot. It's definitely more than I've ever written in my entire life. So that's been a lot of fun. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to write a novel. I'm chugging along with the story. I have a very, very light outline, and I'm just kind of like, as I type, like it's coming out, and that's what I'm putting down on the page. And it's kind of a fun story.
Are you typing or writing?
I'm typing it.
You're typing. Are you a good typist?
I am a really good typist with like 2 fingers. I can really like peck at those keys faster than anyone I know.
Seriously?
Yeah, man. I'm like.
You didn't take Mrs. Spink's typing class? How dare you?
Funny thing, when I hit, it must have been 6th grade. There was a typing class, but our school bought these like little purple machines to teach us to type, and it had like the two lines of LCD text on the top, and you would have to match that. And like that was the whole class. That was like an hour of just pulling these things out and typing on that. The teacher that we had was a substitute teacher, like wasn't even a regular teacher, and she like gave 0 Fs on the progress of any of the students in the class. And it was just like, here they are, here's the thing, and there you go. And that's
what
like,
grade was this?
It must have been 6th grade. I remember being out in the portables behind the mid school. So it was either
I didn't take my typing class till I was a sophomore. No, what's the one after? What's the one before senior? Junior. I took it it actually may have been my senior year.
Yeah, so we had this.
I got to that point where I was like, I just need an elective, and so I'm like, typing, why not?
It's typing, yeah.
Anyway,
like what are they going to do? Fail you in typing? It's like, sorry, I can't type as fast as everyone else, but I do. Like I memorize the keyboard for a test in that class, and I still have like the sentence that I spelled out with the keys in order to in order to memorize all the lines. So I guess there's that. But no, I've been typing. I'm excited to finish the book. My sons are excited because when my kids were smaller, I would read to them so that they would fall asleep, because my kids had problems falling asleep in their beds. So I figured if I bored them to death with my stories, that would be the best way to solve that problem. So for the longest time, I would just make up stories until they fell asleep because they got bored with my terrible stories. And then I would read to them. And I was like, you know what? I should write a book, and I will write a book for my kids. So I'm gonna write one. I'm gonna finish it. It probably won't be any good, but it's one of those things where
I don't know, man. I once read a story about vampires and werewolves, and so
you
that
know,
got made into a movie. So there you go.
and
I apologize to the vampire and werewolf community.
yeah, and you say that as an adjust, but I was thinking as I was writing this thing, and especially after like last week, Mike and I did a bonus like Thanksgiving episode of watching one of the worst movies I think that has ever been released, Hard Kill, starring Bruce Willis. And I was like, you know what? I could probably write a book, and I mean, if this got made into a movie on Netflix, like, who is to say that my book was not, better than this? Because that was a really bad movie,
Well,
and that got made.
well, I mean, Rise of Skywalker got made, so there you go.
We apologize to all the Star Wars fans. I'm sure no one. You
No,
can email
no, we
M.
don't,
Lamson
because they know. If they are Star Wars fans, they know.
Yeah, that's probably fair. So I'm going to finish this book. I'm excited for it. I think it's a pretty cool story. It's going to incorporate a lot of the things that I really enjoy about storytelling, and yeah, so I'm going to do that. So I've been doing that, and
Cool.
it is a good creative outlet. Like after like stopping with the Godfall content creation, like being creative is just something that I need to be doing all the time. So this is a really good outlet for that. So I'm going to keep doing that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And
Well, and not only that, when you find something that you can call your own, and something that speaks to you on a level that doesn't even necessarily speak to anybody else, right? Because like you will be your harshest critic, and nothing you write will be good, but everybody's going to say, yeah, this is really good, and this is good, and you're going to be your harshest critic, which you're allowed to be, but it's yours. And so, I mean, especially during this time when it's winter and it's getting darker earlier, and just everything is shut down and life is not normal, like people got to get out and find something that they can call their own and that speaks to them. I was speaking with my wife earlier, and we have a goal board up that we try to use pretty regularly, and we haven't updated our goals in quite a long time. And so we just talked about, what should we do? What if you were to make goals for me, what would they be? And then we kind of did the same thing. It's just a thought exercise. And we thought, you know what? Like, we each need to find a hobby that can just be ours and pursue it. We'll support each other in it. We'll make the concessions that we need. We'll buy the things that we need to for it to work out, and just do something. Be creative. And that's, like you say, just be creative. Take an outlet and find something that you can do on your own, where you can just kill some time. So I think it's super helpful for everyone's social emotional well-being. And so, I mean, if you have the opportunity to do something like that, do it. Right? If it's fitness, invest in a treadmill and do that. If it's writing, get a notebook and start writing. Artist, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, just don't do drugs.
I definitely agree with that. Just don't do drugs. Yeah, that's not something we need to do. And don't hurt animals and people and stuff, because that's not okay.
Also true. A couple of other things that I've been doing. I've been playing with Amazon Luna a lot more. I started playing Iconoclast on that, on the cloud software. I've been playing it on my computer. I've also been playing it on my phone, trying it out there. Iconoclast is not a new game. It is a very cool game. It is very retro 16-bit era. The gameplay is a lot of fun. I need to dive more into the game, but I had a lot of fun with that. I tried Control on my phone. There was a couple issues. It was stuttering a little bit.
Did you have some control issues?
Haha! Zing.
Whatever.
So
did you get a controller?
No, I didn't buy the controller. I mean, like, the Xbox controllers work. The only thing that the Luna controller would add to it is a Luna button, so I could say, hey, go to this game, which I would never use anyway. I would just pick up the controller and navigate to the game without talking to the device, because then they'll have my voice and they'll have all my data, like they don't have it already.
Yeah, because they don't have it already.
Yeah, my voice is something that no one has. No one even knows about it.
So I bet from our 150 episodes that somebody with a lot of time could probably piece together you saying a lot of really probably nefarious stuff.
It's probably true.
I wonder if someone could have us like like cut you together to like give the Gettysburg Address. No, I bet we haven't said it, a bunch of those words.
Like what words?
Four score.
So the word "for" we probably said that because I said episode 104 or something, 148. Score is like something that we say. Yeah, we've said score a bunch of the times for the dumb games that we played.
I guess that's true. It would be funny. It would be interesting for someone to do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah,
Steven.
please don't do
I
that.
know
I will.
this is,
I'm
like,
not going
right
to do
up
that.
your alley.
That is no. There's nothing. There's nothing more in my life that I would want more than to do that. So I also finished the Brandon Sanderson book Rhythm of War that just came out. That was.
Did you get it like yesterday?
It's true. I did. No, it's been a week. So I finished that.
Oh.
That was one of the things that was like my most anticipated things of the year, though. So I carved time out of my schedule to do that. Cyberpunk has been purchased, and we are awaiting the launch of Cyberpunk next week. So I am kind of interested because I've gone dark on the game. Like, I know very little of all the videos and everything that people have been teasing on that game. So I'm going in fairly blind. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Oh, also, so Alaska Grizz in our Discord reached out and said, hey, I know you like RTS games. You should go check this one out. I guess he shouldn't be Alaska Grizz anymore. He should be like Germany Grizz because he moved to Germany. But
I think they have Alaskan grizzlies in Germany, though.
They have Alaskan grizzly bears in Germany?
Yeah.
I guess you can see
migrate.
Russia from Alaska, right? You could like just walk right over there if the ice is frozen in the right way.
If the ice is frozen in the right way.
Yeah, you can just like cruise on over there. Anyway, the game is called Creeper World 4. Now, I'm going to try to explain it because I played through the demo. The demo has about 8 levels you can play through. This game was made by one person. It is kind of a mix between an RTS and a tower defense game. So you start out like there's this you're doing a test and there's a little bit of story. I won't spoil the story, but there is a liquid goo that lands, and as time progresses in the game, it's all real time, this liquid continues to spread across the map, and anything that it touches, it will destroy. So currently, I have some towers that I can build that gets power from my station to other things that I can put down. Right now, I can put down some tanks, and the tanks will continue to shoot in a designated area around them. So if I want to clear out an area of the map to get to a certain objective, I have to lay down some power lines, and then I have to lay tanks down so that the tanks will keep the liquid at bay. Right? It's a really interesting game. It's really different. I've been looking for an RTS for a really long time to play. This one is very simple. It has a very interesting premise. One of the cool things about it, and I think one of the reasons I really like it, is because visually you can see like little power nodes travel from your home base to all the things that you are planting. So very much like SimCity, in SimCity, when you have a thriving city going, the roads are like full of cars and cars are moving all over the place, and visually that's just like interesting to look at. In Creeper World 4, there's like little nodes of power that blip through the power lines that you set down, and they connect to the weapons or whatever things that you have. So at the end of a level, you could have all these lines with just like things going all over the place. You have a bunch of guns that are clearing out these areas of liquid that are trying to destroy you, and there's just a lot going on, and visually I think that is really cool. So it's something that I want to try more. There's a free demo on Steam if you want to try it out. I think it's an interesting game. Again, it's made by one person. So we should go support
Like
those.
that's the studio is one person, or like then it's made by one person.
I think it's made by one person. Like, I'll have to do some more research on it, but talking
That would
with
be a cool name for a studio.
just one person studio.
Yeah. I mean, it could have like a million people working there, but it would be a fun name because then you could say, "Oh, this game was made by one person," and then you could have the exchange that we just had. Oh, do you mean like one person, or do you mean like one person?
You know, granted, like if that would get you good SEO on the internet, if you're like, oh, you know, that one game that's made by one person, and every game that's made by one person, that search result would direct you to the studio that really has a million people in it, but is named one person studio. So
Yep.
you solved the internet, Mike. So yeah, so those are the things that I've been doing. Yeah, it's not hard to solve the internet.
So the start of the internet.
So yeah, all right, let's get into some news because I've got some things that I want to talk about. You know who we should have bring us in? Cyberpunk himself. Burl Ives or Bob Ives? Who's Burl Ives?
Burl Ives, he sings Frosty the Snowman.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's that guy. He's funny. He's the only other person in the world that I know whose name is Burl. That's not true. I know more Burl.
I gotta talk to you about something.
All right, everyone, we've got some news for the week, and this is a compilation of news from last week and from this week. Really, there's not been a ton of stuff going on. I think everyone is just like, all right, just put everything off until Cyberpunk comes and Cyberpunk goes. So these are some things that I found really interesting, though. And Mike, I don't know if you did or not, but I'll tell you about them. There's a 3DS game that it was like my favorite. Yeah, saying 3DS is weird to say. So there's a 3DS game called The World Ends With You. It was kind of like it was an RPG for the 3DS. It was a game that was really hard to get here in the States for some reason. It took me a really long time to find a copy. I was finally able to get one. It is an RPG set in the Shibuya district of Japan where you collect pins, and these pins give you certain upgrades. It utilizes the two screens of the 3DS. The bottom screen, you would use the stylus to swipe or to tap, or you would blow into the microphone to do different attacks for the combat phases. And then you also had things going on at the top screen that you had to control. So there's always a lot of things happening on the screen. The art was really good. The story was interesting. You die and you wake up and you've got a clock and you've got to go through this game. And if you don't go through the game, then you die for real. But if you win the game, you can go on to come back alive.
Wait a second. You die for real?
You die for real. The first time you die is not real. But the second time you die, it might be for real. It might be permanent death. So, The World Ends With You has a cult following. It is a fantastic game. I encourage anyone that has not played it to go out and do so. I believe there's a version for the Switch. I know that there's a version on the iPad that you can buy. I don't know how it deals with the two screens, though. It probably takes that away a little bit and changes it. But it's a game that everyone should go play. Recently, they announced that Neo, The World Ends With You, is a second follow-up game heading to the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch, right? Wow, it really came out in 2007. That was a really long time ago. So this game is going to launch on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch in the summer of 2021. It's an action role-playing game, and it returns players to the Shibuya district of Tokyo. So a few details about it. As Rindo, players will have access. Players will once again participate in the Reaper's game, which plays out through a series of missions that will determine whether the player is erased from existence itself. A trailer released today teases a return to the series' colorful, fictionalized take on Shibuya and all that stuff. One of the things, though, about the trailer that they released on this, I do not like the art style because it is so widely different. So the first game, it did have it looked like it was hand-drawn. It looked more stylized. It looked way more anime. This new trailer where they have the person running around in a 3D world now looks like an older PS3 game, maybe even a PS2 game, just by the way it looks. I don't know if it looks like that on purpose. I don't know if maybe my brain is just like, no, this really isn't how it's supposed to look. But it looks different. However, I am willing to give it the benefit of the doubt to try it out. But also, it's like one of those things they're also working on an anime cartoon for The World Ends With You, and I'm excited about that. But I don't know if this is one of those things where it's I would rather them not do. Well, the attitude is even if they do this, it might be good, it might be bad. It shouldn't change the way I feel about it because the old game that I love will still be there. It's still playable. Still have my cart, still have my 3DS. I can play that game whenever I want, right? So I shouldn't have this automatic notion of oh, they're going to ruin this game that I love. How dare they? Because they might not. It might be a good game. It might gain another cult following. I shouldn't automatically assume that, because they're doing this, they're ruining all these memories that I have of this game that I really love, right? Because that's a weird thing to think.
It is a weird thing to think.
So I'm not going to think it anymore.
You shouldn't.
I'm not. But I don't know if I'm.
Go.
But I don't know if I'm going to play this because, like, well, do I want to buy a PlayStation 4 or a Switch to play the game? I don't know if I do. I don't.
No.
Are you sure?
You're holding up for a PS5.
Maybe.
I hear they're really easy to get. Just order one.
Just order one. I'll try that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they're just super easy to get.
that's Neo. The World Ends With You. So I don't. It'll be interesting to see like how that all plays out, and I'll give it a go. I'll give it a whirl. You know.
I'll give it a whirl.
All right. Also, one of the things that I have been excited about. So I did this little unboxing of like the Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch, and that's something I think that you were also excited for. I don't know. Is this something like your kids listen to the show, so we can't like spoil their Christmas presents?
No, they don't. So we can. They don't support anything I do, so it's cool.
Totally understand. All right. So the Game & Watch, I'm super excited about the Game & Watch because the potential to hack it, put every NES ROM onto it, put every Game Boy game onto it, and then have that thing in my pocket, carry it around, and play it whenever I want. Because all those times where I'm waiting in the lines at grocery stores nowadays, yeah, totally have lots of those opportunities to whip that thing out and just play it, right? A couple of people got Doom to run on the Game & Watch. It doesn't look great. It's not like the best version of Doom, but they opened that thing up. They did their hackery magic that hackery magic people do, and they got Doom running on the thing. So just showing the potential of what they can do. I also follow a bunch of the people that are like spearheading the development of putting ROMs onto this thing. And they're out there streaming it. So if someone wanted to watch, they could totally go watch, and people would be able to see like everything that they're doing to the Game & Watch. So I'm excited about that because pretty soon, Mike, you're going to be able to play all the old NES games that you never played before and didn't play for reasons. We were talking about
if I let them take it out of the box.
Yeah, that's true. We were talking about the Home Alone NES game earlier today, and like, oh, remember that game? And then we were watching it. It was like, oh, maybe we don't need to remember that game. So really,
but remember, like during that time, we were like, wow, this is amazing.
Look at these graphics; they're so real.
Exactly, and so there's that. I mean, nostalgia, I guess, right? Nostalgia is good for nostalgia reasons.
I don't think so. I think it's the worst thing. Do you think like early people, when they were like in caves and painting on walls, and they're like, do you remember a time where we didn't have the spear, when I didn't have this particular rock? Man, those were the days, right?
That'd be kind of funny and weird.
I was just like,
no, it's just, yeah. I mean, no, it's just, yeah. That's the quote I want. No, it's just, yeah. Nostalgia is funny, and our generation seems to really care a lot about it. But
why do you think that is? Why is it like our generation? Like our dad doesn't care about anything. I mean, he doesn't even care about us, right? Like we're not even like part of the nostalgia.
It's just weird. Like, do we not have enough? Are we not creative enough to come up with new stuff to where we can start thinking about the new and like, all right, this was cool, but now let's move on?
You know what
But no, we got to throw back to everything. All the movies we watch have to have ties to, oh, that was that one thing that character had in that one scene. And we're like, seriously?
You know what's also weird about that is like when you think of the nostalgia for those old things, old toys and stuff, like old typewriters that are still working nowadays, old electronics and bookcases, the way things were made, like you were able to develop nostalgia for those things because those things would last.
Right.
Like nothing
that might have something to do with it.
Because like nothing that's made now is ever gonna last any type of period of time. Like,
nope.
I mean, we buy 7 printers a year because printers suck. Like all of pop toys are like, hey, we have a pop toy for everything. And it's like, you have a pop toy for everything, so nothing's special, right?
Exactly.
There's not going to be those collectibles that we have coming from our age that, well, I guess like someone...
I'm interested to see what those collectibles are going to be.
Like, what would they be? Like, what do you have
I don't
now?
even know. iPhone 1? Like...
Yeah, but there's like
I don't
millions
even know
of those.
what it would... So what toy... So if we do think about this for a second, what toy has come out exclusively in our generation that wasn't a nostalgic throwback? You can't even say consoles. Like, I doubt we're gonna get an Xbox Series X mini version console preloaded with, like the original games. Like that won't be a thing.
No,
So
that won't
consoles,
be a thing.
you throw consoles out, right?
Tickle me Elmo.
Okay, so where's that toy that has come up? Even in, I guess that is our generation. We were kids during that time.
Yeah.
But that hasn't come back at all. So what is it?
Where's the mini Tickle Me Elmo? Okay, so here is.
Oh yeah.
Here's on. I'm on eBay here. Original Tickle Me Elmo toy, $500. See, and that doesn't even hold like a candle to like. There was recently someone purchased a copy of Super Mario Brothers, like mint in box for like $135,000, right? And that
mint in box original copy.
And that's just a collector that's like probably like 1% of the people that are ever going to collect anything are just going to spend that money on something.
Well, so
like that.
yeah, and so it makes me think like what do I need to go out and buy and just hold on to?
Gold.
Like, because gold, probably gold.
Land.
And that might be what it is. Maybe Steve, you should pick up a physical copy of Cyberpunk when it comes out and just hang on to it for a while.
No, there are no physical copies because they're just discs, and then you download the game from the internet, right? So not even that is something that you would have.
You can't even do that anymore.
You can't do comics anymore because all comics are digital. Shoes.
Could you do shoes?
Shoes might be like shoes are pretty big. Like, and there's collectors that like the shoe, like the world of shoes is something like I'm not into at all, but there's a lot of people that are into that world. So like maybe shoes would be it, but
is it something tangible that can appreciate over time? Because not too many things appreciate now.
No, I mean,
and I think that's the big thing is finding something that appreciates versus just being done right out of the box.
I mean, even thinking of like artists right now, like we talk about the Van Goghs and like the Picasso, these original paintings. Like, I don't even know if there's like, maybe I just don't know that.
Is painting still going on?
Because a lot of it's done digitally, but there are painters that are still painting. But I guess I don't know people that are like, oh, this is like the Van Gogh of our time. These are paintings that you need to buy now, and they'll completely increase, and you'll be able to sell it and buy all these weird things. I don't know. It's weird because like most of our stuff is just made so cheaply to get the most profit, and it's like
even cars. Like even cars, like what are the classic cars now, or what are gonna be the classic cars?
I don't know if you were gonna have classic cars because like the muscle cars of olden times, they were especially because they were built out of metal, right? And they would last, and they were like, oh, look at these are built to last. Now I mean I guess like, but even like the rice burners, like that's a whole different type of car mentality. I don't know how many people are like trying to go out and buy a Honda Civic to like get the pristine like Honda Civic experience. Hey, Phaedron, how's it going?
Right.
Just talking about cars on this video game podcast. But
I guess you'd still have because the Mustang is still being made, the Charger is still being made, the Corvette.
But if you look at
the Camaro are still being made.
But look at the Camaro of nowadays. Like, who is like saying I need to buy a Camaro, like, and keep it pristine and like box it away? Because it's like once they bring it back, it's like who's gonna say like, oh, they're just gonna bring another Camaro back? Who's gonna be excited about the Camaro from 2007 because of the stupid Transformers movie?
Right.
I don't know.
That's interesting, man. That's kind of an interesting take on what's going on right now, because it's kind of sad that we don't have that toy that is gonna define, like the Buzz, even like the Buzz Lightyear toy. Like I remember that being a huge kind of thing. But I wonder if it's are you still on eBay? Look up how much an original Buzz Lightyear is. It's probably not even, because there have been so many versions of that. So
there's like a whole, I guess there's the Netflix series, The Toys That Define Us. eBay.
Oh, yeah.
Because we talk about like G.I. Joes. I mean, G.I. Joes were something that defined that generation. Micro Machines, Transformers. Legos is probably going to be something that'll always define everything.
But those are still being made.
Yeah, that's
Those are
not
still
something
like-
that's like ever gonna go away. Like some of these are
Right.
like $5.99. Like Buzz Lightyears are not something that are like super expensive apparently. So anyway, that is
Interesting.
our discussion on how everything is built so cheaply to get most money, and then it all ends up in the dump. So unless you find one person that actually really cares about those things. Couple of other things that we wanted to talk about. Japan's Super Mario Land is set to open in 2021, February 4th. Phaedron says Beanie Babies. That was huge.
I got my ticket, and I'm gonna go, and I'm probably gonna die on the first Goomba.
I see what you did there. Mike is notorious for dying on the first Goomba of every Super Mario game.
And it's not even on purpose either.
So this thing is opening up in Japan, Universal Studios Japan. I imagine they'll probably try to bring something over here. I think the idea of a Super Mario Brothers land is cool. It is very small from pictures, but it's just an add-on to Universal Studios. So I guess if you're going there, you're going to go there anyway and hang out over there. I just don't know how interesting it'll be. So this is the mark.
It'll be as interesting as your like going back to the nostalgia thing. It'll be as interesting as going back to the nostalgia for it. Like there are cool environments. That 8-bit world is neat. Walking around on the things and the grass platforms and like pretending you're a platformer kind of thing. Like that'll be fun. But like you say, it's probably a couple shops, a few facades, maybe like a Gadget Go Coaster-esque ride. Although maybe they'll have a bigger type roller coaster in there. But I can't imagine anything more than that. You'll be able to buy Mario and Luigi hats. You'll be able to buy that's it. What other kind of I guess there are a lot of Super Nintendo Mario toys and things that you see even at Target and Walmart.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there'll be some like theme foods and all that stuff. And it says it includes a number of attractions, including Bowser's Keep, Yoshi's Island, and even a Mario Kart ride, which uses a special augmented reality headset to let riders interact with the course and other racers by doing things like throwing bananas and shells. Watch out for those pesky blue shells. That's the joke because everyone hates the pesky blue shells. So augmented reality headsets during the COVID. But Japan's got a little bit better handle on things because they are Japan. And anyway, so that will be interesting. Good luck to everyone that is able to go out to Super Mario Land, Japan. Also,
it'll be fun.
There has been massive rumors, Mike. I don't know if you have heard that people were saying, hey, what's going on with Battle Royale for Halo? Because everyone's like, is it happening? And some of the developers came out and said, no, this is an unfounded rumor. Turns out, I guess, it could be kind of true because the Master Chief and the Warthog are ending up in Fortnite. And we are still talking about Fortnite, especially because Fortnite just hit 15.3 million concurrent players in the biggest live event ever of all time. It's more people that watch the Super Bowl. How many people watch the Super Bowl?
I
bet, no, there's got to be a lot more people that watch the Super Bowl. How many?
I don't know.
If you were to guess.
Recently, probably not. What was the number? 15 million?
15 million. How?
And you said that they were all in one event at a time?
Those were concurrent users, people that were logged in around the same time.
Around the same time. Wow. It'd be cool if they put them all on one server.
Yeah, they just melt the server. All right.
Yeah.
So I was a little off.
That. I bet the Super Bowl numbers are down.
99 million.
That's down from what it was.
Yeah, so 99 million people. So that's still a pretty good portion, 15 million people watching video games because they had a big event. So Fortnite still continues to be the juggernaut that it is, and I don't know if it'll ever go away. It's just going to keep on evolving, which I hope a lot of other games do. Phaedron says that Gundam in Japan is awesome. I would go to Japan just so I could see that Gundam walking around. I know Japan is really excited for the Olympics, and they are not going to delay the Olympics. They're like, these Olympics are happening no matter what because we built a freaking robot for people to come see the Olympics. That's also not the first Gundam that they built. These are like, hey, these are prototypes. We got to figure out how to build these giant robots before, like, 2021 happens and we get invaded by giant monsters from outer space.
We get the kaiju coming out of the Pacific Trench.
And we will be happy that the Japanese have created the first Gundam so that our Gundam can battle and save humanity. Man, I am on board for that. If anything good comes out of 2020, it's going to be that we have a giant Gundam in the world now. So I am on board. Unfortunately, it'll have to be a 14-year-old that has to pilot it for some reason. I don't know why it always has to be a 14-year-old. So we've kind of missed that boat.
Because that's who Hugh Jackman likes working against.
Hugh Jackman likes working against 14-year-olds?
Well, like I'm thinking.
Oh,
like
you're thinking Real Steel. You made a Real Steel reference there that I totally missed out on.
I did.
All right.
Yeah, you kind of ruined it, but that's okay.
Sorry, I was like confused. I was like, what does Hugh Jackman have to do? He was Wolverine at one time, and like X-23 was young. I don't remember how old she was, so that's where my brain went. Michael, did you hear the latest news today?
I did hear the latest news. So I was surprised to hear this, but iceberg lettuce has now passed romaine lettuce in the most common and most favorite type of lettuce. I thought that was interesting.
It's kind of mind-blowing, really.
Is that not what you were talking about?
It's actually exactly what I was talking about. I really wanted to hear your take on the mozzarella cheddar cheese, though.
Mozzarella cheddar cheese? Spoiler alert, I don't even know if this is a spoiler. I don't know why I said that. I'm not a huge cheese fan.
Why not? What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't eat cheeseburgers, so I don't put cheese on my burgers, but I'll have cheese on my pizza and I'll have cheese where cheese needs to be.
Where does cheese how come cheese does not belong on a hamburger? It seems like that's one of the best places for it to go.
I'm not sure why it doesn't belong on a hamburger, but let me tell you, it doesn't.
Why? I mean, you eat cheese pizza.
But that's not the same.
That's like 80% cheese.
But it's not like processed cheese that goes on a hamburger. Maybe that's my issue. Processed cheese.
Maybe you're just buying the wrong cheese.
I might be yeah. I don't know what I'm doing.
Would you buy?
Who knows what I'm doing? Who knows?
All right, I'm going to tell you what. All right.
I got no idea.
Okay.
What's happening?
I'm going to tell you what happened. The biggest thing that happened today that caught me off guard is that there was an announcement from BioWare that Mark Darrah and Casey Hudson are leaving BioWare. That they announced their retirements today, which came as kind of a shock. We recently had like the celebration on N7 Day where they talked about the new upcoming Dragon Age game. And then Mark Darrah, who is the lead on Dragon Age, is like, all right, I'm out of here. Mark Darrah, fan of the friend of the show, as we talked with Mark. Did we ever? No, we never talked to Mark. We got to see Mark while at EA Play of 2018. Was it 2018? Yeah, it would have been EA Play 2018 where we got to see Mark. And yeah, he is leaving the Dragon Age team. Casey Hudson was the general manager of BioWare, who just recently returned 3 years ago. It's really hard, like when he said that he's been there for 3 years, because I remember that being big news on the podcast when we talked about Casey Hudson coming back, because Casey left and was at Microsoft for a while and then came back. So now he is leaving after 3 years, and they're just kind of moving on. I don't know if I want to read the whole.
I guess it's not moving on. It's just kind of like retirement, right? They're not going on to a different spot.
So
it's just all right.
So this is what I will say. A couple things happen when people like Mark Darrah and Casey Hudson retire from a video game company. A lot of times there's either things put into contracts saying that, hey, you can't work on another thing for a year. And they just kind of take a break for a year and they jump right back into it. That's what Mike Morhaime of Blizzard fame did. He left Blizzard, took a year off, and he's created a new studio with a bunch of people from over there. It's what Chris Metzen did. He started his old tabletop thing, doing the same thing. I cannot imagine someone like Mark Darrah, who's been in the video game industry for nearly 20 years, is going to just be like, all right, I'm done. I mean, maybe Mark has been posting a lot of Warhammer miniatures on Twitter. He loves playing the orcs. And maybe he's just going to go and he's going to start making, playing Warhammer all the time. But this is like kind of the blurb that they put out. Let's see. This is from Casey Hudson. When I became studio GM a little over 3 years ago, our goal as a leadership team was to position our people and projects for long-term success. Now, as BioWare celebrates its 25th anniversary, the studio is poised for an exciting new era of amazing games. This year, we've been inspired by continued community support for our ongoing work on Star Wars: The Old Republic and Anthem. A few months ago, we provided a deeper look at the work that's going on into the next huge Dragon Age game, and on N7 Day, we announced Mass Effect: The Legendary Edition and gave a hint at what's coming next in the Mass Effect universe. It's an exciting time, both in terms of projects you've heard about, and some things that you have not. Arriving at this point has been an opportunity for me to reflect on my own future, and 2020 has been a year that forced all of us to reimagine how we think about work and life. For me, it's been a realization that I still have tremendous energy to create, but also that I need to try something different. I'm not exactly sure what that is yet, but I know that I want to start by rediscovering my creative passion through more personal work. So to me, this sounds like someone that, and this, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat, and I'm going to preface a lot of this saying, I was going to say not one person makes a video game, but we talked earlier in this episode about one person that made a video game.
Person doing it.
Not one person makes these giant video games, okay? Hundreds of people make Mass Effect. Hundreds of people made Anthem. Hundreds of people make Dragon Age. Mark Darrah is one person. Casey Hudson is one person. These are very collaborative projects. It takes a village to make a video game, all that stuff. When you are in a studio like BioWare that has grown from making little games to making some of the biggest franchises ever, to being bought by EA, who loves to make money, sometimes your project, you lose the desire to create. Instead, you're creating for this, like, we have to recoup these costs. Mm-hmm. It sounds like to me that Casey wants to make smaller games for the love of making games. He could be going to direct some movies. I don't know. He could be going to write a book. I don't know. But it sounds like he's taken a step back so he can rediscover that creative passion. When you are ahead of a studio, you are not in the trenches, coding, animating, doing all that stuff. You are high level, making sure that ship is going the correct direction, not running into, I wanted to say meteorites for some reason. Not running in... Yeah, not to run into meteorites, right? So I could totally understand a creative person being at that level and being like, this is not what I want to do. I need to get back to creating things. So Mark Darrah will be replaced by BioWare Austin studio director Christian Daly. So Christian has been the lead on Anthem. He has been posting all of the updates on Twitter for Anthem. So he will now be taking over direction of Dragon Age. What does that mean for Anthem? I'm sure we'll find out in the future. And Mark called his departure from BioWare a retirement from the studio. Mark says, "This has been a very difficult decision for me. The team of amazing developers on Dragon Age make my life fuller and better. They have taught me so much, but the strength of the team is also what makes this possible. I know that Dragon Age won't just survive without me, it will thrive." So I understand why a lot of people are kind of like upset by the idea that these like head people are leaving, because anytime this has happened, and again, it happened a lot before the lead up of Anthem where people were leaving and everyone was like, what's going on? Is the ship sinking? Is the ship on fire? So there's always a lot of speculation on what does this mean for the game? What does it mean for the studio and everything that's going on? I'm sure that's still going to happen. People are still going to be freaking out. People are still going to be saying, EA, you screwed up again. You're sinking the ship, blah, blah, blah. But whatever they go out to do, it'll be interesting to see like what they create. I think one of the most interesting things that, you know, with people that have been leaving Blizzard recently, like starting these new smaller studios, focusing on the things that, you know, made them love video game development, I think that can only help like the video game industry grow. Like when we talk about BioWare, like making another Dragon Age, making another Mass Effect. I know people love those franchises, but it's also opportunities for new people to step in and maybe new things to be made, and not just relying on things that have worked. I mean, when we talk about the Halo franchise, it's like, all right, how are you going to make this different from all the other games that you have made? I mean, we had talked about this earlier, Mike, when we were talking about Destiny. Like, what if we do something different, something new, and you get people into those positions where they can create new things? They don't have to stay beholden to, we have to make a new Mass Effect, guys, because Mass Effect makes money. You know what? And Phaedron says 343 tried and they failed, right? Because they tried to follow like a very similar thing and they just weren't able to do that because Bungie did that. But what if the desire to create, surpasses the desire for executives to make money, right? And I know that there are so many creative people in the industry, like that is their desire, to create something new, create something that is impactful, create something that will stick with people. You know, we think of all these games that have made a huge impact on us. I think of Control, this game that I was not anticipating that is just like a huge impact on me. I've been thinking a ton about like games like Into the Breach, which is this small little indie game that I think about every day just because of the way it's designed and everything that you could do with that and different IPs you can attach to it. Simple games that like have an impact. And it's like, go create. And like we said, we talk about these things that are going to last. Like, how many times do we have to keep pulling these horses down the road because they're making money, and when do we get to branch off? I mean, look at things like Spider-Man, like Insomniac's Spider-Man, like this massive game that came out and just totally dominated. Now Miles Morales that has come out and then just totally just like blowing people away. But like my fear is like, okay, but Insomniac, don't get stuck in that thing where it's like, all right, now what do we do for the next one? Like sometimes you just need to let a franchise rest and maybe just go out and create the next thing. And I've talked so long, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
Well, and that's tough to do. And I mean, if it isn't broke, right? So I don't know what the right answer is. I think that there's going to be a lot of copy paste on a lot of stuff, and I think that exists everywhere. And you'll get new stuff as people are given those opportunities and as studios are, because I think it's a risk, and I think unfortunately that's one of the driving factors, is that risk. Can we recoup what we've put into this? At least it happens in movies, it happens in TV shows, it happens in video games. I don't know about books. I don't know if it happens in books.
I mean, books at some point, it's like, I don't know if it does happen in books. It's so hard to get published anyway.
Well, it's going to have to, right? Because publishing that stuff, actually making the physical book, takes money and resources.
Right.
And so, I mean, and it happens everywhere, and it's tough. So it's kind of funny how the huge titles are the ones that really follow the same pattern, right? It's the smaller titles that are made by one person, 30 people that we like, that really don't get super big because they don't have the backing for it. And I think that's just, I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know how to fix the problem. But that just seems to be the reality of it.
Yeah, and it's just a tough cycle because when games do get big, I was thinking of Cuphead, because Cuphead, their DLC got delayed again. It's been several years as that thing gets delayed and delayed even more. It's like you have a studio that's very small, like has this huge success. They get a ton of money, and now they're kind of, I don't know if it's just like the cycle of now you got to go bigger, and to do that you got to spend more money, and to do that it's like, well, we got to stick with what made this successful. I mean, it's like if you look at the Pokemon franchise, this is exactly what the Pokemon franchise, like why it is not innovating, why it is so stagnant, when really like Pokemon could be one of the coolest things if like they would just do something new and different. But it's so safe and it's so the same, but also because they sell, they don't have to do those things. And it's so frustrating because like an open world Pokemon massive multiplayer where people are, there's monsters everywhere, you're battling and you're catching, could be so cool. But they just play it safe because it makes them money and that's all they have to do. And unfortunately, the player base isn't asking them to do more because they're still forking over their money for it. And, that's difficult to do. I mean, I was trying to think today, and that's kind of like the last thing that, good luck to Mark and to Casey in whatever they do next. Everyone, any thoughts, Mike, on what they're going to do? You think they're going to do their own studios, or are they going to go over to Microsoft and finish off the Halo series so that Halo comes out?
No, I mean, maybe like what you said about the whole no work clause and stuff. Like maybe they'll take a year off, but I don't know. After the year that this has been, I think a lot of people are like, "No, I'm good. I'm good."
That's true.
I'll tenure my retirement and like, no, I'm good. I'm okay.
We can finish this up. So I had a dumb thought today. I was thinking, because I was like, I complain a lot about like no new ideas, no new franchise, like what's going on here. And I was like, what would I do differently if I had to create something? And I was like, I started thinking about like this Netflix model, or this. I started thinking about TV shows and things that TV shows do. TV shows like create hype because they're released at a certain time. That's when everyone talks about it, and then everyone moves on until season 2. Like I was thinking of The Mandalorian. Mandalorian came out, like smacked everyone in the face with how amazing it was, and then it moved on because we're like, all right, now they got to go make Mandalorian season 2. So now we have to wait and we have to rest. So our excitement level like starts going down. And then once we're coming back season 2.
I'm gonna stop you there and tell you that we didn't, with Mandalorian, it wasn't a full season drop. Like we had to go back to waiting a week between episodes, and that hasn't been done, Steve, in a long time. Talking like Friends and Seinfeld, where you had to wait a week for the next episode. So that's huge in and of itself, that we don't have a season drop at a time. So I mean, Mandalorian is hitting on all the cylinders, because if the whole season were to drop at once, you would binge that in a weekend, you would talk about it for the next week, and then you'd be done, right? But now we're going 9 weeks deep, getting an episode at a time, and I think they're doing a really good job. So that has to be incorporated somehow into this new game that you're making. That ability to wait. So I don't know what that does to people, but it does something.
Well, and you're right, it does something. And that's what I was thinking about. And then I was thinking about Destiny, and I was like we talk about Destiny a lot because Destiny is the best Destiny that's out there. No one outdoes Destiny. I was like, what was the best part of that game? And it was the raid. Like I hate grinding. I hate people are like, man, what are we grinding for? It's like, I don't want to grind. Like, screw that noise. I want to play a game and I want to get the best out of it. Like, grinding is not the best part of any game. I don't care what anyone says. Like, grinding is never fun. The raids were really fun. Those were the best experiences I had. Like, what if you created a game and you were like, all right, people, 2 months. It is live for 2 months. This is the new super hard content that we put out. Get together with your friends. Jump in. You've got 2 months to play this season. And then after the 2 months, it's gone. And they go back into the tank, take everything that they learned from those 2 months. They create new content for it. And they get that much time to like come out with this new thing. And then everyone jumps.
So you just want the raid drops without the extra stuff.
So yeah.
Interesting.
And then like everything's new every season. Developers have those 8 months to like start designing whatever is going to be coming out in 2001, 2010. You sell it for $30. So every year, $30 to play this game this season for 3 months, 2 months, however long it's open. Then it's gone. And then players either have to get in or they don't. And then it goes back into the tank. New stuff comes out. Creating this like, there's not this constant like, the biggest thing for Destiny and for all of these games, Anthem, Godfall, everything is like we burn through content so fast and then we complain about it all year because there's not enough to do. Well, guess what? This is your time to do it. And you know what? You give your feedback. The development team goes into the tank and says, all right, this is what was really good about this season. This is what we want to do next season. develop it, boom, even have multiple teams so that you're like leapfrogging development. So you have a year and a half to develop this content that's going to be out there. And Phaedron says it's like get in and get out. Yeah, and that's what it is. And this was like one of the, like, this is probably not new. I'm sure that there's probably games that do this that I just don't know about. But it's like one of the things that I was thinking about, that it's like, you wouldn't burn out on a game because, like, or maybe you would, but then you have a rest period that you have to take no matter what. I've blown your mind. It's such a good idea.
That's interesting because if you do follow that raid model, and we take that raid model from Destiny, well, it took our group longer than 2 months to finally achieve that goal. And so yeah, there definitely is a FOMO kind of part of it, right? So you have to jump in for those 2 months. The activity then has to be something that is I'm in awe of the people who do like the world's first raid runs in 26, 25, 15 hours. Like, that's a cool feat to jump into something brand new, stick with it long enough to finally do it, and that's cool, whatever. I couldn't tell you anybody who did it.
Right. But again, like,
so what I'm saying is like your event, your content needs to be something to that scale. I like this model. This is fun. And again, this seems fun. I wonder how it could be done.
Right.
Because that's not enough revenue up front to be able to fund your second and third seasons.
But if it's a small, again, this is like, if a small team can do this, there's less overhead than like just like this massive overtaking. But also, like, when I say raid, I use raid as an example because that was like the funnest thing that we had. But of course, it's like, okay, now when you think of like a campaign for something like this, we're always like, the campaigns are so short, and the campaigns are just there so that you can learn how to play the game. But that wouldn't be that, because there is no like grind for the best stuff. It's like, these are the things
everybody just comes in at the same power level.
You play the game. There's no like crazy grind, like, oh, you've been able to do this, because you just get in, you play the game for that season, the game turns off, and then you go on. Of course, the content would have to be fun. It would have to be engaging. It would have to be something that you want to come back for. So it would have to be exciting. So you take all the exciting parts of video games that we like, you cut out all the crap of like, oh, I'm only level 32, and now I've got to dismantle these boots. You take out all of that crap that is supposed to extend the length of these games for an entire year, and you're just like, this is the meat and potatoes. Like, get rid of the cranberry sauce. No one loves cranberry sauce. I mean, maybe there's people that really like cranberry sauce. You get rid of like that weird thing that your aunt brought to the meal. Like, meat and potatoes. What makes this game fun? This is how long it's open. Give us time to make more content. You don't need to be playing our game every day. We don't need you to be doing that.
Well, therein lies your problem, because you can't not be playing it, right? Unfortunately, even Steve, probably the smaller studios, they get to a point where they go, you know what, this isn't. I'm super passionate about this, but man, I like food, and I got to be able to pay the bills. And unfortunately, I don't think this model can work for like a smaller studio. It could only be done in a bigger studio that has the ability to do this, and they would be taking a risk in and of itself.
Well, I know, but like, I mean, if you never risk,
and it's
never
funny
gained.
because when you started this off, that you mentioned like kind of the new, because really what it is, it's a new formula of delivery, and it's a new story. It's a new way to tell stories. We're so bogged down with the same storytelling, and the same way that when a movie opens, it's either exposition dump by newspaper clippings, or on-air stories, or exposition by the scars on the protagonist's body. Like everything kind of follows that same, and it kind of has to set up and build the world. So I think we've kind of put ourselves in a tough situation that these methods of storytelling really are. There's probably only about 7, and that's tough to do. But think of all the great stories that you like. They all seem to have some similar things in common, but they're still your favorite stories. Um, and so I don't know how to. I like this model. This is a good model, and it'd be cool if someone could do this, because you do have that kind of, we got to play now or we're gonna miss out. But then also, Steve, there needs to be some kind of investment. Like I need to. I think it's hard for people just to jump into here's your character, go do this thing. Well, this isn't really my character. This is just a guy. Like Destiny, for example, that's your character.
Yeah, how connected are
Halo's a little bit different.
Now, you're not connected to your Destiny character. Your Destiny character doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a voice. You're not connected to your Destiny character.
So actually, it's our Destiny characters do start to have more of a voice in Beyond Light. So
after 8 years.
You should go check it out.
So again, I'm just spitballing here. I'm not saying like this is the idea that's going to revolutionize everything, but now I'm going to go start making a document and figure out what would work here. So, all right, everyone, Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been episode 150 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, a new podcast where we just talk about whatever we want and go off tangents and no one cares because this is what we do here. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please be kind to each other, stay safe. And we hope you'll do things that you like, I guess.
Thank you for listening to the Freelancer Codex, a podcast brought to you by the Shut Up and Respawn Network. Follow us at Freelancer Codex on Twitter or Twitch. Send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com or voice messages to anchor.fm/freelancercodex/message. We wish to thank all of our Patreons. We are grateful for you all.
All right. Everyone in chat, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you later. Peace. Goodbye, chat. I said good day, sir.